Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. Somebody wrote a song once, going down memory lane or something like that. There was a song, walking down memory lane, or maybe it was too far long ago. Maybe it was too long ago. Or the Beach Boys or something. Who knows? Anyway, we're going down the deepest memory lane you can go, because there's no memory that goes back as far as the Srimad-Bhagavatam, right to the beginning of the universe. And all of our forefathers, everybody wants to know who their great-grandparents and great-great-great-great-grandparents are. We're addicted to these things. So we can find out who we actually came from the Srimad-Bhagavatam. We're going to learn a little something about that today. Okay, Sanatana Goswami's prayers, glorifying the Srimad-Bhagavatam, the history of the universe, in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad-Bhagavata Mahima Stotram. And it goes like this. Sarva Shastra Dipiyusha Sarva Vedaika Satphala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwan Loditaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshaksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madhika Bando Matsangin Madguru Mad Mahadana Mad Nistadaga Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu sadhu tadayin adini chochatakada hanamunchagadachin mam premna rit kantayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So here we are in the beginning of the 6th chapter of the 6th canto. We've heard how Narada Muni liberated all the sons of Daksha Maharaj, and he was not so happy about that. But the word Daksha particularly means expert, and he was blessed due to his desire to serve the Lord by populating the universe with the word Daksha, which means expert of sex, because that's the way the universe was populated, at least most of it. And so he decided, okay, this guy's not going to get away with me having more sons and running away with them. I'm going to have all daughters. Maybe that'll work. So that's what's next. Chapter 6, the progeny of the daughters of Daksha. As described in this chapter, Prajapati Daksha begot 60 daughters in the womb of his wife Asikni. These daughters were given in charity to various persons to increase the population. Since these offspring of Daksha were women, Narada Muni did not try to lead them toward the renounced order of life. Thus the daughters were saved from Narada Muni. 10 of the daughters were given in marriage to Dharmaraj, 13 to Kashyapa Muni, and 27 to the moon god, Chandra. In this way, 50 daughters were distributed, and of the other 10 daughters, 4 were given to Kashyapa, and 2 each to Bhuta, Angira, and Krishashva. One should know that it is because of the union of these 60 daughters with various exalted personalities that the entire universe was filled with various kinds of living entities, such as human beings, demigods, demons, beasts, birds, and serpents. Text 1. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, My dear king, thereafter, at the request of Lord Brahma, Prajapati Daksha, who is known as Prachitasa, begot 60 daughters in the womb of his wife, Asikni. All the daughters were very affectionate toward their father. Purport. After the incidents concerning the loss of his many sons, Daksha repented his misunderstanding with Narada Muni. Lord Brahma then saw Daksha and instructed him to beget children again. This time Daksha was very cautious to beget female children instead of male children, so that Narada Muni would not disturb them by urging them to accept the renounced order. Females are not meant for the renounced order of life. They should be faithful to their good husbands, for if a husband is competent for liberation, his wife will also achieve liberation with him. As stated in the Shastra, the results of a husband's pious activities are shared by his wife. Therefore, a woman's duty is to have very chaste and to be very chaste and faithful to her husband. Then, without separate endeavor, she will share in all the profit the husband earns. Text 2. He gave 10 daughters in charity to Yamaraj, 13 to Kashyapa, first 12 and then 1 more, 27 to the moon god, and 2 each to Angira, Krishashva, and Bhuta. The other 4 daughters were given to Kashyapa. Thus, Kashyapa received 17 daughters in all. Text 3. Now please hear from me the names of all these daughters and their descendants who filled all the 3 worlds. Text 4. The 10 daughters given to Yamaraj were named Manu, Lamba, Kakud, Yami, Vishwa, Sadhya, Marudvati, Vasu, Muhurta, and Sankalpa. Now hear the names of their sons. Text 5. O king, a son named Devarishab was born from the womb of Manu, and from him came a son named Indrasena. From the womb of Lamba came a son named Vidyota, who generated all the clouds. Text 6. From the womb of Kakud came the son named Sankata, whose son was Kikata. From Kikata came the demigods named Durga. From Yami came the son named Swarga, whose son was named Nandi. Text 7. The sons of Vishwa were the Vishwadevas, who had no progeny. From the womb of Sadhya came the Sadhyas, who had a son named Artasiddhi. Text 8. The 2 sons who took birth from the womb of Marutpati were Marutvan and Jayanta. Jayanta, who was an expansion of Lord Vasudeva, is known as Upendra. Text 9. The demigods named the Mahurtikas took birth from the womb of Muhurta. These demigods delivered the results of actions to the living entities of their respective times. Text 10 and 11. The son of Sankalpa was known as Sankalpa. and from him lust was born. The sons of Basu were known as the 8 Vasus. Just hear their names from me: Drona, Prana, Dhruva, Arka, Agni, Dosha, Vastu, and Vibhavasu. From Abhimati, the wife of the Vasu named Drona, were generated the sons named Harsha, Shoka, Bhaya, and so on. Text 12. Urjaswati, the wife of Prana, gave birth to 3 sons named Saha, Ayus, and Purojava. The wife of Dhruva was known as Dharani, and from her womb various cities took birth. Woo. Text 13. From the womb of Vasana, the wife of Arka, came many sons, headed by Tarsha. Dara, the wife of Vasu, named Agni, gave birth to many sons, headed by Dravanaka. Text 14. From Kritika, another wife of Agni, came the son named Skanda. Kartikeya, whose sons were headed by Vishaka. From the womb of Sharvari, the wife of Vasu, named Dosha, came the son named Shishumara, who was an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 15. From Angirasi, the wife of the Vasu named Vastu, was born the great architect Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma became the husband of Akriti, from whom the Manu named Chakshusha was born. The sons of Manu were known as the Vishwadevas and Sadyas. Text 16. Usha, the wife of Vibhavasu, gave birth to 3 sons, Vyushta, Rochisa, and Atapa. From Atapa came Panchayama, the span of day, who awakens all living entities to material activities. Sarupa, the wife of Bhuta, gave birth to the 10 million Rudras, of whom the 11 principal Rudras were Raivata, Aja, Bhava, Bhima, Vama, Ugra, Vishakapi, Ajaikapat, Abhibradna, Bahurupa, and Mahan. Their associates, the ghosts and goblins, who were very fearful, were born of the other wife of Bhuta. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments that Bhuta had 2 wives. One of them, Sarupa, gave birth to the 11 Rudras, and the other wife gave birth to the associates of the Rudras, known as the ghosts and hobgoblins. Text 19. The Prajapati Angira had 2 wives, named Swadha and Sati. The wife named Swadha accepted all the Pitas as her sons, and Sati accepted Arthavangirasa Veda as her son. Text 20. Krishashva had 2 wives named Archis and Dishana. In the wife named Archis, he begot Dhumaketu, and in Dishana he begot 4 sons named Vedashira, Devala, Vayuna, and Manu. Text 21 and 22. 4 wives of Kashyapa, who was also known as Tarksha, were named Vinata, Suparna, Kadru, Patangi, and Yamini. Patangi gave birth to many kinds of birds, and Yamini gave birth to locusts. Vinata, Suparna, gave birth to Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, and to Anura, the chariot driver of the sun god. Kadru gave birth to different varieties of serpents. Text 23. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharats, the constellations named Kritika were all wives of the moon god. However, because Prajapati Daksha had cursed him to suffer from a disease causing gradual destruction, the moon god could not beget children in any of his wives. Purport. Because the moon god was very much attached to Rohini, he neglected all his other wives. Therefore, seeing the bereavement of these daughters, Prajapati Daksha became angry and cursed him. Text 24 to 26. Thereafter the king of the moon pacified Prajapati Daksha with courteous words, and thus regained the portions of light he had lost during his disease. Nevertheless, he could not beget children. The moon loses its shining power during the dark fortnight, and in the bright fortnight it is manifested again. O King Parikshit, now please hear from me the names of Kashyap's other wives, from whose wombs the population of the entire universe has come. They are the mothers of almost all the population of the entire universe, and their names are very auspicious to hear. They are Aditi, Diti, Danu, Kashta, Arishta, Surasa, Ila, Muni, Krodavasha, Tamra, Surabhi, Sarama, and Timi. From the womb of Timi, all the aquatics took birth, and from the womb of Sarama, the ferocious animals like the tigers and lions took birth. Text 27. My dear King Parikshit, from the womb of Surabhi, the buffalo, cow, and other animals with cloven hooves took birth. From the womb of Tamra, the eagles, vultures, and other large birds of prey took birth. And from the womb of Muni, the angels took birth. Text 28. The sons born of Krodavasha were the serpents known as Dandashuka, as well as other serpents, and the mosquitoes. All the various creepers and trees were born of the womb of Ila. The Rakshasas, bad spirits, were born from the womb of Surasa. 18 to 21. 29 to 31, rather. The Gandharvas were born from the womb of Arishta, and animals whose hooves are not split, such as the horse, were born from the womb of Kashta. O king, from the womb of Danu came 61 sons, of whom these 18 were very important: Dvimurda, Shambhara, Arishta, Hayagriva, Vibhavasu, Ayonmukha, Sankushira, Swarbhanu, Kapila, Aruna, Paloma, Rishaparva, Ekachakra, Anutapana, Dhumrakeshu, Virupaksha, Viprachiti, and Durjaya. Text 32. The daughter of Swarbhanu, named Suprabha, was married by Namuchi. The daughter of Rishaparva, named Sarmishta, was given to the powerful king Yayati, the son of Nahusha. Text 33 to 36. Vishvarana, the son of Danu, had 4 beautiful daughters, named Upadanavi, Hayashirsha, Puloma, and Kalaka. Hiranyaksha married Upadanavi, and Kratu married Hayashira. Thereafter, at the request of Lord Brahma, Prajapati Kashyapa married Paloma and Kalaka, the other 2 daughters of Vaishvarana. From the wombs of these 2 wives of Kashyapa came 60,000 sons, headed by the Nivatakavacha, who were known as the Polomas and the Kalakeyas. They were physically very strong and expert in fighting, and their aim was to disturb the sacrifices performed by the great sages. My dear king, when your grandfather Arjuna went to the heavenly planets, he alone killed all these demons, and thus King Indra became extremely affectionate toward him. Text 37. In his wife Simika, Viprachiti begot 101 sons, of whom the eldest is Rahu, and the others are the 100 Ketus. All of them attained positions in the influential planets. Text 38 and 39. Now please hear me as I describe the descendants of Aditi in chronological order. In this dynasty, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, descended by his plenary expansion. The names of the son of Aditi are as follows: Bibaswan, Aryama, Pusha, Twashta, Savita, Bhaga, Datta, Vidata, Varuna, Mitra, Shatru, and Urukrama. Text 40. Samgya, the wife of Vivaswan, the sun god, gave birth to the Manu named Shraddadeva. And the same fortunate wife also gave birth to the twins Yamaraj and the river Yamuna. Then, while wandering on the earth in the form of a mare, Samgya gave birth to the Ashwini Kumaras. Text 41. Chaya, another wife of the sun god, begot two sons named Shanaishchara and Savarni Manu, and one daughter, Tapati, who married Samvarna. Text 42. From the womb of Matrika, the wife of Aryama, were born many learned scholars. Among them, Lord Brahma created the human species, which are endowed with an aptitude for self-examination. Text 42, 43. Pusha had no sons. When Lord Shiva was angry at Daksha, Pusha had laughed at Lord Shiva and shown his teeth. Therefore he lost his teeth and had to live by eating only ground flour. Text 44. Rachana, the daughter of the Daityas, became the wife of Prajapati Twashta. By his semen he begot in her womb two very powerful sons, named Sannivesha and Vishwarupa. Text 45. Although Vishwarupa purports, although Vishwarupa was the son of the daughter of their eternal enemies, the demons, the demigods accepted them as their priest in accordance with the order of Brahma when they were abandoned by their spiritual master Brihaspati, whom they disrespected. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 6th canto, 6th chapter of Srimad-Bhagavatam, entitled The Progeny of the Daughters of Daksha. So I'm certain that some of the minds in the room here are just swirling around, having heard this. What the heck is going on here? Well, we should understand that this is the beginning of a universe, and these are not ordinary people like us. But we have a tendency to compare everything we hear with us. And therefore, when something's different than us, we tend not to believe it. So we should understand that all of the codes of activity, what do they call them? Yeah, the DNA, all the genomes, and all the things that determine how the mothers and the fathers that get to there in all the species of life, they have different information content in their genes that cause the forms to look the way they do. That's science. So we should understand that Krishna has all of those things inside his form. Everything is inside the form of Krishna, including all of those information contents and all the different, directions that come from one living being to another when they project. They're all there in Krishna's body. So when he expands as Mahavishnu, they all go into Mahavishnu. And then from one creation to another, all the living beings come into the body of Mahavishnu, and in their subtle bodies, the desires that they had, their unfulfilled desires that they stay there, along with them, inside the body of Mahavishnu. And when the material creation comes out, all those living beings come out simultaneously into the material nature, along with their subtle body and their desires, and all of the different directive codes that are necessary to create all the species of life. So these personalities in the beginning, Brahma, he created 10 sons and other personalities just from his mind, just from his own body, He didn't require sexual intercourse with a female. So this is going on. And then the first personalities that were born, they were born with mystic powers that we can't imagine. They could change their shapes what they wanted to. When they wanted to go out and romp around, there was one verse that described how such and such and such and such they play, and they change their forms, and they go out and have sex in the forest as mares or as other species of life, and those species of life come into being. So like that, there's a lot of detail that are not given in here, that are given in other Puranas, in other places in the Vedas, but that's the principle. So if you can kind of wrap your mind around that, when you hear these kinds of things that sound just like beyond the beyond of something that you can believe, you can understand that there's science behind it. There's a spiritual science behind it. And this is how all the living beings came into being. Not by changing from one form to another to another. They all came into being. Not all simultaneously, but the original forms of the different living beings came about in this way, by the creation of Brahma and his creations. Okay, I just thought I'd do my best to make it more clear what's going on here. Hare Krishna. Okay. Chapter 7. You can ask questions after. Indra offends his spiritual master, Brihaspati. As related in this chapter, Indra, the king of heaven, committed an offense at the feet of his spiritual master, Brihaspati. Brihaspati therefore left the demigods, who then had no priest. However, at the request of the demigods, Vishwarupa, the son of the Brahmana Twashta, became their priest. We heard about these personalities just in the chapter before. Once upon a time, Indra, the king of the demigods, was sitting with his wife Sachidevi and being praised by various demigods like the Siddhas, Charanas, and Gandharvas, when Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, entered the assembly. Indra, being too absorbed in material opulence, forgot himself and did not respect Brihaspati, who thus became aware of Indra's pride and in his material opulence, and immediately disappeared from the assembly to teach him a lesson. Indra became most repentant, understanding that because of his opulence, he had forgotten to respect his spiritual master. He left the palace to beg pardon from his spiritual master, but could not find Brihaspati anywhere. Because of his disrespectful behavior toward his spiritual master, Indra lost all his opulence and was conquered by the demons, who defeated the demigods in a great fight and occupied Indra's throne. King Indra, along with the other demigods, later took shelter of Lord Brahma. Understanding the situation, Lord Brahma chastised the demigods for their offense to their spiritual master. Following Lord Brahma's orders, the demigods accepted Vishwarupa, who was a Brahmana and the son of Twashta, as their priest. They then performed yagyas under the priesthood of Vishwarupa and were able to conquer the demons. Text 1. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Shukadev Goswami, O great sage, why did the spiritual master of the demigods, Brihaspati, reject the demigods who were his own disciples? What offense did the demigods commit against their spiritual master? Please describe to me this incident. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, Saptame Guruna Chaktair Devar Daitya Parajitaihi Vishwarupo Gurudvena Brito Brahmo Patechataha. This 7th chapter describes how Brihaspati was offended by the demigods, how he left them and the demigods were defeated, and how the demigods, following the instructions of Lord Brahma, accepted Vishwarupa as the priest to perform their sacrifice. Texts 2 through 8. Shukadev Goswami said, O king, once upon a time, the king of heaven, Indra, being extremely proud because of his great opulence of the three worlds, transgressed the law of Vedic etiquette. Seated on his throne, he was surrounded by the Maruts, Vasus, Rudras, Adityas, Ribus, Vishwadevas, Sadyas, Ashwini Kumaras, Siddhas, Charanas, and Gandharvas, and by great saintly persons. Also surrounding him were the Vidyadharas, Apsaras, Kinnaras, Patagas, birds, and Uragas, snakes. All of them were offering Indra their respects and services, and the Apsaras and Gandharvas were dancing and singing with very sweet musical instruments. Over Indra's head was a white umbrella as effulgent as the full moon, fanned by yak-tail whisks and served with all the paraphernalia of a great king. Indra was sitting with his wife, Shachi Devi, who occupied half the throne, when the great sage Brihaspati appeared in that assembly. Brihaspati, the best of the sages, was the spiritual master of Indra and the demigods, and was respected by the demigods and demons alike. Nevertheless, although Indra saw his spiritual master before him, he did not rise from his own seat, or offer a seat to his spiritual master, nor did Indra offer him a respectful welcome. Indra did nothing to show him respect. Text 9. Brihaspati knew everything that would happen in the future. Seeing Indra's transgression of etiquette, he completely understood that Indra was puffed up by his material opulence. Although able to curse Indra, he did not do so. Instead, he left the assembly and in silence returned to his home. 10. Indra, the king of heaven, could immediately understand his mistake. Realizing he had disrespected his spiritual master, he condemned himself in the presence of all the members of the assembly. Text 11. Alas, what a regrettable deed I have committed because of my lack of intelligence and my pride in my material opulences. I failed to show respect to my spiritual master when he entered this assembly, and thus I have insulted him. Text 12. Although I am king of the demigods who were situated in the mode of goodness, I was proud of a little opulence and polluted by false ego. Under these circumstances, who in this world would accept such riches at the risk of falling down? Alas, I condemn my wealth and opulence. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kapitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye. O my Lord, I do not aspire for material opulence or wealth, nor do I want a great number of followers to accept me as their leader, nor do I want a beautiful wife to please me. Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahaituki Twayi. I do not even want liberation. All I want, life after life, is to be a faithful servant of your Lordship. According to the laws of nature, when one is extremely opulent, one becomes degraded. And this is true both individually and collectively. The demigods are situated in the mode of goodness, but sometimes even one who is situated in such an exalted position as King Indra, the king of all the demigods, falls down because of material opulence. We are now actually seeing this in America. Wow, and this was a long time ago. This was, let me see, this is Canto 6. That was 1976, 5, 6. It's still going on in America. Okay, here we go. We are now actually seeing this in America. The entire American nation has tried to advance in material opulence without striving to produce ideal beings, human beings. The result is that Americans are now regretting the wholesale criminality of American society and are wondering how America has become so lawless and unmanageable. I mean, imagine how now it's a lot more unmanageable and lawless than it was then. A lot more. As stated in Srimad-Bhagavatam 7.5.31, Na te vidu swarta gatim hi Vishnum. Persons who are unenlightened do not know the aim of life, which is to return home, back to Godhead. Therefore, both individually and collectively, they try to enjoy so-called material comforts, and they become addicted to wine and women. The men produced in such a society are less than fourth class. They are unwanted population known as Varna Sankara, and as stated in Bhagavad Gita, an increase of Varna Sankara population creates a hellish society. All you got to do is open your eyes and look out at the world through the eyes of this knowledge. This is the society in which Americans now find themselves. Fortunately, however, the Hare Krishna movement has come to America, and many fortunate young men are giving serious attention to this movement, which is creating ideal men of first-class character, men who completely refrain from meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. If the American people are serious about curbing the degraded criminal life of their nation, they must take to the Krishna consciousness movement and try to create the kind of human society advised in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam, Mayashishtam, Gunakarma, Vibhagashaha. They must divide their society into first-class men, second-class men, third-class men, and fourth-class men. Since they are now creating only men who are less than fourth class, how can they avoid the dangers of a criminal society? Long, long ago, Lord Indra regretted his disrespect to his spiritual master, Brihaspati. Similarly, it is advised that the American people regret their mistaken advancement in civilization. They should take advice from the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna. If they do so, they will be happy, and theirs will be an ideal nation to lead the entire world. Text 13. There it is, straight from the authority. If a person says, one who is situated on the exalted throne of a king should not stand up to show respect to another king or a brahmana, it is to be understood that he does not know the superior religious principles. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this regard that when a president or king is sitting on his throne, he does not need to show respect to everyone who comes within his assembly, but he must show respect to superiors like his spiritual master, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. There are many examples of how he should act. When Lord Krishna was sitting on his throne, and Narada fortunately entered his assembly, even Lord Krishna immediately stood up with his officers and ministers to offer respectful obeisances to Narada. Narada knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna knew that Narada was his devotee. But although Krishna is the Supreme Lord and Narada is the Lord's devotee, the Lord observed the religious etiquette. Since Narada was a brahmachari, a brahmana, and an exalted devotee, even Krishna, while acting as a king, offered his respectful obeisances unto Narada. Such is the conduct visible in the Vedic civilization. A civilization in which the people do not know how the representative of Narada and Krishna should be respected, how society should be formed, and how one should advance in Krishna consciousness. A society concerned only with manufacturing new cars and new skyscrapers every year, and then breaking them pieces and making new ones, may be technologically advanced, but it is not a human civilization. A human civilization is advanced when its people follow the Chaturvarnyam system, the system of 4 orders of life. There must be ideal first-class men to act as advisors, second-class men to act as administrators, third-class men to produce food and protect cows, and fourth-class men who obey the 3 higher classes. Oh, sorry, I pushed the wrong button. And fourth-class men who obey the 3 higher classes of society. One who does not follow the standard system of society should be considered a 5th-class man. A society without Vedic laws and regulations will not be very helpful to humanity. As stated in this verse, Dharmam te nam param bidu. Such a society does not know the aim of life and the highest principle of religion. 14. Leaders who have fallen into ignorance and who mislead people by directing them to the path of destruction, as described in the previous verse, are in effect boarding a stone boat. And so too are those who blindly follow them. A stone boat would be unable to float and would sink in the water with its passengers. Similarly, those who mislead people go to hell, and their followers go with them. Purport. As stated in the Vedic literature, Bhagavatam 11:20-17, Nideham adyam subalam sudurlabam plavam sukalpam gurukarna dhanam. We, the conditioned souls, have fallen in the ocean of nations, but the human body, fortunately, provides us a good opportunity to cross the ocean, because the human body is like a very good boat. When directed by a spiritual master acting as the captain, the boat can very easily cross the ocean. Furthermore, the boat is helped to cross by favorable winds, which are the instructions of Vedic knowledge. If one does not take advantage of all these facilities to cross the ocean of nations, he is certainly committing suicide. One who boards a boat made of stone is doomed. To be elevated to the stage of perfection, humanity must first give up false leaders who present boats of stone. All of human society is in such a dangerous position that to be rescued, it must abide by the standard instructions of the Vedas. The cream of these instructions appears in the form of Bhagavad Gita. One should not take shelter of any other instructions, for Bhagavad Gita gives direct instructions on how to fulfill the aim of human life. Lord Sri Krishna therefore says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Give up all other processes of religion and simply surrender to me. Even if one does not accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his instructions are so exalted and beneficial for humanity that if one follows his instructions, one will be saved. Otherwise, one will be cheated by unauthorized meditation and gymnastic methods of yoga. Thus one will board a boat of stone which will sink and drown all its passengers. Unfortunately, although the American people are extremely eager to get out of materialistic chaos, they are sometimes found to patronize the makers of stone boats. Prabhupada. That will not help them. They must take the proper boat, offered by Krishna in the form of the Krishna consciousness movement. Then they will be easily saved. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, Ashmamayat plavo vidyesham teyata majadantam plavam anubajanti tateti raja nityupadesh destrishu sabha yeshu kopu vyanjitaha. If society is guided by political diplomacy, Hare Krishna. Tell that to the Democrats and the Republicans. Right? If a society is guided by political diplomacy, with one nation maneuvering against another, it will certainly sink like a stone boat. Political maneuvering and diplomacy will not save human society. People must take to Krishna consciousness to understand the aim of life, to understand God, and to fulfill the human mission. So I'm going to stop there. Very, very wonderful progression of history. You know, we may wonder about how these things could be true, but we accept people who are teaching us how things came into being and how they progressed without having anybody seen it. And now here we are hearing sounds that have been passed down since time immemorial from people who have actually seen it. They're saying it. This is vijnana. It's not jnana. This is vijnana. We're hearing from people who were actually there and who saw the thing happen. We don't get very many details. If we were, we would have a book the size of this building, you know, which is not possible. So this is the greatness of Vyasadeva, that he was able to, by his meditation, bring the Bhagavatam into the universe. Well, it's already there, but to bring it, manifest it into human society at the beginning of the Kali Yuga, the end of the Dwapara Yuga, the beginning of Kali Yuga, just for us to be able to understand what's going on here and what the solutions to the problems are. And if we doubt that, well, you know, we've been here for so many years and we distributed, how many books, do you know how many books we've distributed? The Krishna Consciousness Movement, since its inception in 1965. The books really didn't start going out until like 71, 72. Anybody know? We're not very good at promoting our own. Anyway, now that Vaisheshika Prabhu is in the BBT trustee, I'm sure it will spread. But you have 500 million, 1/2 billion literatures the movement has distributed with this knowledge in it. And it is having an effect on human society. All of the trends to vegetarianism and, you know, alternative, you know, medicine and living and diet and meditation, yoga, and all these things. It's all coming from these books. So, and it will take a very long time for it to actually reach its peak of influence. 5,000 years. So no one should feel discouraged or doubtful because we haven't gotten so big so quick, because it hasn't been so quick. We're just starting. It's only 50-some years. It took Christianity 300 years. So stick around. And don't give up on these truths that are so clear that Prabhupada's giving. I have a very deep friend named Prabhupada Priya Devi Dasi. She was in Europe. This was in 1990. 29 years ago, almost 30 years ago. and she was taking a break after she got her master's degree, and she was accepted at Harvard University. You've heard of Harvard University? She was accepted into a PhD program in Harvard to do some studies in ecosystems. She was into conservation, trying to save the planet. And she just happened to walk in the Sow Street Temple in London, and I was giving a question and answer system. Is she there?
I'm here by the way.
Hey Prabhupada Priya, you're watching. Hey, anyway, I hope you don't get embarrassed, but I'm explaining exactly what's going on now with our dear one over here. So, we had a few interesting discussions. If she could speak through the phone, she'd probably laugh her head off and tell you about all kinds of things. There were some knockdown, drag-out philosophical melees in the corridors outside my room. And eventually, she surrendered and she joined the movement. And she had a long road after that, many things. And now she's in Florida, and she's been accepted as the head of the ladies' ashram in Gainesville, Krishna House. And I'm going to send our dear Hannah, who is got a lot of potential, but has not much peer association or training, being with, like the boys have their ashram, and see how nice it's going. But she has to promise me that she'll do the editing that she's going to do. And she's going to, anyway, she's going to go there to see how it works out. She'll keep the apartment that she has with Garima. And let's see what happens. But I'd like us all to give her our love and affection and blessings. And don't forget us. Hare Krishna.
If you want to sing without it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that I call her the master asker, because she's always yeah. Any questions? You know, and that eagerness is carrying her, and Prabhupada Priya has agreed to take her on board, and I really trust Prabhupada Priya. She's extremely gifted, she's intelligent, she's a great teacher, and so you'll be in good hands. And she's saying something? Typing something?
Jayashree asked, Hannah, are you leaving Houston when?
She's going tomorrow. I know it sounds like a short deal, but we've been talking about this for some time. It's a decision that's been made thoughtfully. And anyway, let's see how it goes. We wish you well. And I'm not sending her out forever. She's aspiring to take initiation from me. Did you know that? Any of you? Probably you do. So I'm going to make sure she comes back here. And by Prabhupada Priya's mercy, if she's actually serious enough, after the audiobook thing is over, because I'm not going to let her do anything else until that's over. It's a legacy service for Prabhupada. I'm going to see if she can't be trained to do an ashram here for young girls. We don't have anything like that yet. And I know that we can do that, and a lot of young girls that come around, if there was some facility to teach them, they would come and become devotees. And then the exercise that we're doing in order to try to diversify this community will take one step forward. Hare Krishna. Okay, with that under the belt, I got 10 minutes. So, anybody have any? I mean, we heard a lot of far out things today. Any questions? I tried my best to explain all those seemingly mystical, wonderful things that were described in the chapter about how, the daughters of Daksa started this universe being populated with so many living beings.
We have a question from cyberspace.
Cyberspace.
from Krishna Bhagavan Das.
Oh, Krishna Bhagavan.
Yes. He says, question, familiarity breeds contempt. And my experience in Krishna consciousness, it is easy to become familiar with my seniors, which causes pride within myself. From this familiarity, I tend to take shelter of material opulences, education, strength, and so on, and not taking shelter of senior devotees in Krishna. So how can we prevent familiarity from affecting our spiritual lives in relation to taking shelter of senior devotees? This pastime of Indra reminds me of this impurity of mind.
So that's the purpose of the books. The instructions of how to avoid it are there. But it's up to us to accept it and to emulate. Just like we heard about Krishna in the purport. When Narada Muni comes in, Krishna is the Supreme Lord of everyone and everything. And when Narada Muni comes in, and he's acting like a king, or a prince at least, Ugrasena is the king, but he is the king of kings. Even Ugrasena bows down to him. But when Narada Muni comes in, then Krishna gets off his seat, bows down, washes his feet, offers him all worship, paraphernalia, to show us by example what to do and how to do. And then he came in the form of Lord Chaitanya later on and showed by example how to be a perfect devotee. So I hear this question a lot. How can we do this? How can we do that? Well, we just heard how to do it. Don't disrespect your superiors. Be humble, as Lord Chaitanya said. Nadanam najanam nasundarim. Take lessons from the Bhagavad Gita. We heard that also in the purport, didn't we? Does anybody remember? The instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. Even if you don't accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the instructions in the Bhagavad Gita are so profound that if you follow them, you'll go forward in your spiritual development and you'll progress, you'll evolve spiritually. So it's no joke. We have subtle body and we have gross body, and we're inside kind of like trying to manipulate it, you know? But it begins with our thinking, and then feeling, and then willing, and then the body acts. Or in our dreams we'll also act with our subtle body, but the thinking, feeling, willing, and then acting. So we have to adjust our thinking and our feeling and our willing and our acting by becoming attached to Krishna and his pure devotees. And if we are proud of our material opulence, then we should give up that opulence. Not necessarily you have to. Maharaj Yudhisthira wanted to become the most opulent person in the universe, and he did. Then Krishna even wondered. He said, you want to do what? My devotees don't want to become the most opulent persons in the universe. And Yudhisthira said, yes, I do. Because when they all ask me, how did you do that? Because everybody in the material world wants to do that. Then I'll point to you and I'll say, he did it, and you go to him and surrender, and then you can get it too. And then Krishna smiled and he said, oh, I got it. Okay, then it's okay. So if you get opulence and you actually use it in Krishna's service according to the directions of your spiritual master and the previous acharyas in our line to Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then it won't contaminate you and you won't become proud. So it's a fact that in the material world the tendency is for familiarity to breed contempt, not just in terms of opulence, just in terms of familiar relationships. They also tend to. So we have to follow the laws of nature given by Krishna, and therefore he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up all varieties of laws and regulations and whatever, and surrender to him. Means follow him, follow his example, follow his teachings. And if you do that, then we become perfect. Now we're going to hear, as this chapter unfolds, what happens to poor Indra as a result of that offense. So when you hear, when we hear Sanatana Goswami say, every syllable is a flow of prema. From every syllable is flowing prema. This is what it means. We learn in the Bhagavatam how to think, how to feel, how to will, and how not to think and feel and will. Because unless you know both side by side, you won't know what to do. So you have to learn those things in proper perspective and learn to think and feel and will and act properly according to the laws of nature given by Krishna that will take you back to the position of true humility and true pure devotional service. And that's how you do it. It's easy. And Lord Chaitanya knows, Vedavyas knows, in Kali Yuga, it isn't easy. Because we're so fallen. Kali Yuga, we're so fallen. All of us, every single person in the universe is especially in the earth, so fallen. Therefore, they made it very easy. You chant Hare Krishna without offense. Try to chant without offense. Follow those 4 regulative principles, which seems like easy, but it isn't so easy as it's. Because all the sinful activities stem from those. It's like a tree growing with branches and twigs and this and that. All the reactions that come from those 4 activities. So if you follow those 4 activities, you become pure without separate endeavor. The other refinements of culture and knowledge and everything, and society rules and all those things, they will come naturally if you follow those 4 regulative principles. So therefore Prabhupada said, he only asked 2 things, actually. Of course, we've added a few other things, some of us, because we know our disciples, we know what they need, a little bit more help from their friends. But just follow the 4 regulated principles. Chant your 16 rounds strictly while you're trying to avoid offenses, according to what the offenses are in the scriptures. And from those things, everything else will be adjusted over time. That's it.
He said, "Thank you so much."
Well, you're welcome for so much, for your nice question. Prabhupada said, it's not difficult to be guru. You just have to repeat what Krishna says and don't fiddle with it. Don't fiddle with it. Just repeat it in your own words and it will be attractive and it will work. Shall I read? I will. I may have done this before, but I'm going to do it again. And again and again. And again and again and again. And again and again and again. Whoops, if I can get the darn thing to work. Why isn't it opening up right? I just see? Imperfect. No brain, no hard drive, no memory. I mean, I can explain it almost word for word, but I wanted to read it. Try this again. I'm trying to find a place where Srila Prabhupada defines what realization is. What it means, realization. Somebody look up on your device. Oh, maybe it's coming back to life here. Well, all right then. remember this, 6, 7, 15. Don't let me forget. 6, 7, 15. Okay. Because I'm going to lose my place here. Okay. In Canto 1 of the Bhagavatam, Chapter 4, verse 1. In the purport, here's what Srila Prabhupada says about realization. Okay, you ready? Anybody who's not ready, please raise your hand. It's got to be sarcastic. Local saint. He has to go the other way, you know. It's just his nature. You can't help it. Okay, here it is. Ready? You got to convince me.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Personal realization does not mean that one should, out of vanity, attempt to show one's own learning by trying to surpass the previous acharya. One must have full confidence in the previous acharya, and at the same time, one must realize the subject matter so nicely that he can present the matter for the particular circumstances in a suitable manner. The original purpose of the text must be maintained. That's in italics. Prabhupada very seldomly uses italics for emphasis in his books. This is whole sentence is italicized. I'll read it again. The original purpose of the text must be maintained. No obscure meaning should be screwed out of it. Yet it should be presented in an interesting manner for the understanding of the audience. This is called realization. So if you do that, then you will get from Krishna the intelligence and the strength and the courage and the patience and all the things that you need to go forward in your spiritual life. And then you can follow the instructions.
Which ones you said already?
1, 4, 1. Purport. Pretty nice, huh? Pretty nice. All right then, this is the truth. Everything is there in Prabhupada's books. Everything. It's an ocean, 18,000 verses and purports. If anybody thinks that they can assimilate that in one lifetime, and now they've got it, now they can go on to something else. They've got another thing coming. Everything, all the other Rasa Shastra, everything is based on this book. So first things first, Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you can assimilate those books in this lifetime, you're going back to Godhead. And you can take people with you, if you want. Okay, that's it for me. I've got to call Radhika Krishnananda, who's home after having had a heart attack. Do you know? Yeah, I call him every evening to try to help. Okay, travel safe. Don't forget, 4 hours of editing a day, no matter what. And I got a really heavy dude to watch over you, and she'll tell me immediately if you're not doing it. Then you'll get in trouble. Okay? Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. See you tomorrow night, same place, same station. Hare Krishna. Thank you.